on April 24. And Alan Langer takes out the Kangaroos onto a beautifully prepared ground in front of a reasonable crowd. They wouldn't be ecstatic about it. Quite a good crowd, I suppose, given that we are now midway through October. And there is Pongia leading his team out. By no way were they humbled last Friday night. The scoreboard may have suggested that. They certainly dropped off their discipline after an early incident involving a dangerous tackle on Jared McCracken. And they decided to apply their own form of justice. And I think that cost them dearly. If they stay on track and they stay focused tonight, we can expect a very close game. Kevin Walters out of the Australian team, Matthew Ridge out of the Kiwis team, and Steve Roach is on the sideline.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great test match. This one, the Kiwis pumped up, certainly, but you can't afford to give the Australian side so much ball as they did last week. The penalty count, 14-5. If you give them quality ball like that, they're going to hurt you. The New Zealanders looked dangerous when they started to run the football through Stacey Jones, but they left it too late. He didn't start running till the 50th minute. 14 degrees down here at Light Wesley. Australia have won the toss and are running left to right. Looking forward to this one.
Russell Smith has been in charge of this series since back in April. He certainly had a host of critics come down on him after last Friday night. New Zealand touch judges tonight.
Please be upstanding for the national
anthems of both Australia and New Zealand, performed by Loretta Pennington. And New Zealand lass studying at the Queensland Conservatorium of Music.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty. History's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair. God of nations at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. God Pacific's triple star, from the shouts of strife and war, make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
Loretta Pennington. Her rendition of God Defend New Zealand, and prior to that, of course, Advance Australia Fair. Now the Maori haka, and then it'll come time to clean the stage for the real battle. Quite a luxury, isn't it, when you lose Matthew Ridge and you're able to replace him with Daryl Halligan. So the Kiwis, from right to left, the last league game of 1998, for us anyway. Brasher, on the return of the kickoff, has done well. Just inside the 20-metre line, far side of the ground, which is the grandstand side. Darren Brett going nowhere. Ran into an immovable object, and that was McCracken. Oh, Tallis goes up, and as expected, they were waiting for him. Vangana. 25 off their own line, the Aussies. Webke. They'd be waiting for it. And look at the NZers. Tackling in numbers. Everything quite legitimate at the moment. John. Significant that he was at first receiver for the clearing kick. Oh! Barnett crashed down. Hetherington got a taste of the defence. And Smith goes in.
They've got a touch judge on Ray from the far side. I think a swinging arm involved.
Yeah, it looked like Gordon Tallis might have come in a bit late. Yeah, get your time, man. Yeah.
Well, the tackle had been made by Jason Hetherington. There was no need for Tallis. From those pictures, there was no need for Gordon Tallis.
Alan, I'll speak to him. It's okay. Yes, okay. Gordon, first tackle of the game. We need some control from yourself. The man's tackle, we can't be flopping on, we can't be dropping on. Well, whatever, I didn't quite see where the contact was, but we must have control, Gordon.
So the penalty goes to New Zealand against Gordon Tallis. A late tackle with the player already on the ground. And Daryl Halligan finding the line in front of a grandstand that has become more fully accommodated in the last few moments. Their captain, Pongia, 29 years of age. And his Rangana down the short side. Rasher was underneath him, and Rangana was treading all over the top of him. Falls through for Swan. Midway across the ground. 20-metre line. Jones. And then McCracken. It was a good tackle that brought him down from Andrew Johns initially. Brasher's got the ball. Penalty New Zealand.
And an interesting decision coming up here for the Kiwis, where the two capitalise on having Halligan in the side or keep the momentum going. McCracken pulled over by Tim Brasher. If New Zealand are to play well in this game, their props have got to fire. And early on, the signs are good that Pongia and Vangana both on their game.
It would seem they're targeting Steve Renoff in defence. Both Vangana and Jared McCracken there ran straight at Renoff and bumped him off, and they did that last week as well, but Steve actually had a good game last week and handled them quite well.
Halligan, with his inclusion in the New Zealand side, raises the Canterbury content out there tonight to 4. But of course, Jason Hetherington added to the Australian side. He's been with Canterbury since '94. Prior to that with Norths, and here he is, Halligan, with an immaculate kick. Just what value is this man? New Zealand 2, Australia no score. 3rd minute gone. A comment from the sideline, Steve Roach.
Yeah, Ray, I've been to a lot of football games. I've never heard a crowd support like this in my time following the game. This is just absolutely unbelievable down here on the sideline. And if the crowd supports anything, New Zealand are going to have one hell of a show on tonight.
Early signs suggest that those supporters will have plenty to cheer about. Pictures courtesy of Sky New Zealand. Well, Sean Hoppy, who scored that intercept try last week, was put down on his own 20-metre line. 2-0 in favour of the black and whites, and Swan is taken underneath by Hetherington. He's making the most of his opportunities. Pongia. I was making the comment, Stephen Kearney is in this side. He would be the youngest Kiwi captain ever. And Pongia, on debut, must be the oldest ever. This is Barnett playing at the back. He likes that. Now Jones. And his kick looks to be getting a bit of a push by the breeze. Lockyer. He invited them to test him out tonight. Rasher.
That was a great, sorry Ray, great chase there from the Kraken and Wiki. Now Vangana getting involved. Steve Roach mentioned the importance of Stacey Jones already in this game. His involvement much more pronounced than we saw last week.
Well, the front rowers, Webke and Britt, have been unable to make any yards, and Tallis crashed into the ground from Kearney. Sailor to the 40-metre line, but they're doing it tough. They're paying for every metre tonight. Hetherington to the short side. Jason Smith, he's looking for Darren, his brother. A pick up and a pass. It'll be play on for Langer. Langer's 20 metres out. He puts a cross kick over towards the winger. Braska gets it back for Renoff. This is a superb try. This is as good as it gets. That is as good a rugby league try as I've ever seen. It is just absolutely beautiful.
It is a beauty. 2 kicks involved. The short side raid on the last tackle. It caught New Zealand unaware. Jason Smith combining with his brother. A perfect chip over the top. Darren Smith throws it back, bounces off a New Zealand player into the arms of Alan Langer. He sizes up the situation. A crossfield kick. Just have a look at this from Tim Brasher. Throws it off. Absolutely magnificent. Steve Renoff, he gets plenty of tries. Didn't have to travel far for this one.
Absolutely magical, especially from Alan Langer, who saw there was just fresh air out there on the left, plenty of Australian support, and Tim Brasher flipped it up. And the Pearl, Steve Renoff, on hand to score the first try for Australia. And they've done it well because New Zealand's expending a lot of energy in these 3 and 4 men gang tackles, and Australia just hitting it one out at the moment, absorbing the hits, absorbing the pressure, and look what they came up with at the end of that set.
What a luxury for this Australian side to have Jason Smith on one side of the ruck, maybe opposite Langer or Andrew Johns. Such a skillful player. The little kick over, it found open space. Absolutely perfect off the boot.
Lockyer then from out on the touchline has just missed it. But Australia have grabbed the lead. 4 points to 2. One of the most beautiful tries you'll ever see in rugby league. Well, the Australian try, it sat this big New Zealand crowd back. It really did. They were just pumped up so high. The New Zealand defence has been absolutely devastating. And it's still there. The Kraken in on the top of Webke. Just when they look like they were building a lovely foundation, Australia has put on one of the best test tries I've ever seen. Jason Smith now cutting out Johns, picking up Renoff, and he's tackled just outside the 40.
Well, Ray, they have built a lovely foundation. Now they've got to keep it going. You mentioned the crowd's reaction to that try. Important to see how the Kiwis handle it. Fortunately, this next set of 6 in defence has been particularly strong as well. That's a good sign.
Darren Britt again being put away by the Kiwis in torrid defence. Barnett loses the ball. Darren Smith is with it. Good field opportunity here for Australia as Webke chimes in, knowing the importance of a strong front row forward run early in the count. 21 out, they're coming down the short side again. Jason Smith, who was the man that started the try. He'll play it 11 away from the New Zealand line. 4-2 Australia. Langer goes across and finds Robbie Kearns from the Melbourne Storm. Good ball. Hetherington steps, looks for the line, gets it over the line, and I think he's going to give it. Yes, yes, he does. Russell Smith has given Jason Hetherington on debut a try. Tremendous work by the Canterbury number 9. Called into the side to replace Kevin Walters, and Jason Hetherington gets our second.
Yeah, but what marvellous work from Robbie Kearns as well, the Melbourne Storm front rower. Jason Hetherington, such a well-deserved call-up for this man. A great season for Canterbury. Been knocking on the representative door in many forms for quite a while. Robbie Kearns, he caught New Zealand by surprise here. Got the ball away right at the depth. And left foot step from Hetherington, he plants the ball on the line.
what had happened, that's Melbourne Storm stuff there from Robbie Kearns. Did it all year for the Storm, and the New Zealand boys had turned their backs and going backwards. McCracken couldn't turn in time. Some very lazy defence there, but well done to Jason Hetherington. Good player, him.
A rip snorter of a pass from Kearns. Lockyer now, the flags are up, and Australia extending the lead. Almost on time with the clock. In fact, spot on with the clock. 10-2 after 10. The aggregate puts us in front of time.
And it all came down to the Richie Barnett mistake. First tackle, the zero tackle. You can't afford to just give the ball away 30 metres out from your own line.
Kalis has gone on for the New Zealanders. Wangana is off. And Darren Britt takes them on again. And again they meet him with a three-man posse. Brasher. He was elated at the first try. He's been involved in some classics, but he knew how good the first one here tonight was. Webke. He lost it. It went backwards. And I think Andrew Johns has knocked on. Yes, he has.
Good strong tackle down low from Ruben Wiki on that occasion. New Zealand will be hoping that he gets plenty of involvement in tonight's game because he is damaging in both attack and defence. Just the shoulder cutting Johns in half, forcing the ball out. A nice deep backline set by the New Zealand team from this scrum.
Good field position. They're just inside the 40. And they cut out a man and go to their fullback, Barnett. Halligan came in, but Darren Smith had a proposal to put him over the sideline. Now they got the entire width of the ground. And Paul turning it back on the inside and picking up the back rower. Swan, Eru across, and from Jones, it's back on the inside for Kearney. He's just outside the 20-metre line. Quick play the ball. Kalis, the young Parramatta Lion. That was a high shot from Tallis, apparently. Touch judge in, referee was on the spot. And McCracken talking to the referee, eyeballing Tallis.
Well, he's at fault here, Gordon Tallis. A clumsy attempt on Kalis. McCracken comes across to give him a piece of his mind, holding up the two fingers, saying to the referee, Russell Smith, it's the second time. Gordon has just backed off. And he'll be spoken to in a moment. Another penalty coming his way.
Couple of things going through the mind of McCracken. The tackle on him early in the match in Brisbane, and the fact that Nathan Kalis is a Parramatta clubmate. Lockyer in committee with Tallis. Well, it looks like Wayne Bennett might be going to try and extinguish the flame a little bit himself. Brad Thorne and Steve Price given the instruction to get ready. Halligan using almost the same mound from where he kicked the penalty goal to open the scoring tonight. So it was 2-0 New Zealand, and then Australia came back to 4-2 with well, I think a historic try. And then, of course, Jason Hetherington and Darren Lockyer provided the next 6 points. Halligan again then. He's got it on line again. He just never misses. He's robotic. Almost monotonous. But is he not the best you've ever seen? 10-4.
I got to say, I think he is the best I've ever seen. He hardly misses. I think this year he kicked it around 89-90%. Absolutely incredible. Jason Hetherington scored one of our tries, but also doing a lot of very good work in defence. He's tackling low and hard, which is good to see.
Wangana pulled down just outside the 20-metre line. He wasn't off for long. Was there a knock on there? Apparently not. Pongia under pressure unloading. Jones had to go back. Then he comes forward, and he's taken it back to where the pass was delivered from. Now Pongia. 61-39 time in possession in favour of Australia. Paul giving it to Kearney. Langer went in awkwardly, missed his man. Britt was the man that made the tackle. Swan now crosses the 40. And Jones calling it. He's with it now. And off the 40-metre line, just beyond it in fact. It's coming back through Darren Lockyer. He lost his footing as he was tackled by Ruben Brasher. Jason Smith operating on the right of the ground mainly. Darren Smith dummied and almost got through. He took Halligan on. Now Wendell Saylor. Can he offload? Pulled down on the 40. Australia's end of the ground. The tackler was Kearney. The runner is Kearns, who unloaded a great pass for Hetherington's try. Intercepted there. Hetherington, I can't believe he passed. Wiki was almost shaking hands with him.
It wasn't really an intercept, was it? He just caught the pass. Straight to him as Pongia finds Swan on the outside. Driving tackle there from Andrew Johns.
Yeah, Joey Johns lifting and driving. Now McCracken goes down the blind side. Gets a pass away. The ball going backwards before Paul starts to take it forward. And he's put down heavily by Jason Smith's tackle just inside the 40. And to the right of the ground goes Jones. Gets a goal kick away. Gets the rebound to the little fellow. And pulled down by Brasher. They're 12 metres out. They're right in front of the sticks. Now, they've got another good chance, the Kiwis. Here goes Paul. And he's almost over. Robbie Paul on 5. Playing it back for Eru. Cross it comes. A lofted pass. Kevin Iro had no hope with it. And there was a bit of shrewd play by Darren Smith there. Saylor has tackled with it. Steve Roach on the sideline.
Well, that's what the Kiwis have got to do when they've got the football. Open it up and just vary their play. Little kick through there from Stacey Jones really upset the Australians. Rather than just taking them on and trying to outmuscle the Australians, they've got to play a bit of footy.
Darren Britt banged down on the 30-metre line. 10-4 Australia. 2 tries to 0. And there's Tallis losing the ball. Smith will put a scrum down. Gee, don't tell me one of them didn't attack the head of Tallis there in a 3-manner.
Yeah, some of the Aussies complaining about the high tackle on that occasion. They went up high. He chested him, really. Jumped up to tackle him.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Gee, Pete, I'll tell you who's out of form for the Kiwis. Kevin Iro, he can't do anything at this stage. Missing tackles, dropping balls.
So, another window for the Kiwis. It's Wiki on the 30-metre line. Hoppy away from one. Taken down in the next by Price. 22 out from the line. Open side from Eru to Paul to Jones. Jones then to McCracken. And Renoff plucked him out of midair. Now Kearney crossing the 20. Gets an offload down for Barnett. Beat Langer. Taken by Jason Smith and Brad Ford. 15 out, right in the centre. Eru gets a call from a decoy, goes himself inside the 10. Sid Eru playing it now. To the right, the kick from Jones, and the jump is on. I don't know. Yes, it is. Goal. Wiki had a chance. Then the ball was knocked on, and it'll be the turnover. I thought the player that raked the ball down might have been actually on the sideline, but he wasn't. It was play on, it was still play on, and then there was a knock on.
Well, we might have seen some ordinary defence last week, a little bit of rubbish, but tonight, some classic copybook defence, whether it's driving tackles or ones around the bootlaces. Flick pass there from Jason Smith finds Darren. Both sides defending beautifully on occasions.
Darren Smith is working on the right of the ground. He's relishing playing outside his brother. Ben Eichen is on.
And playing in the dummy half roll as Jason Smith finds plenty of metres. Johns onto Lockett and some space out wide.
Ford is out there. Renoff outside. Brasher inside. Brasher put away 22 metres out. Johns. Langer. It's all a bit slow. Langer puts a kick across. It's a good-looking kick. Halligan couldn't get a shot at it, but he cleans it up. He did well, Halligan. 2 bites at the cherry, which I know you can't have, Paul, but he's cleaned it up.
He's a safe winger, no doubt about it, but on that occasion, Saylor knocked the ball on, so it'll be a 20-metre tap. That's the difference between the two sides. New Zealand, Tallis having a rest, going straight up the middle. Australia, when they move it wide, there's a mile of space out there.
Menzies on for Tallis. Maybe Bennett thinking, I'll just get him out of the I'll get him out of the cauldron for a little moment. Now, Paul. And short ball across the face. Picking up Kalos on the 40-metre line. Played back and away from Paul for Jones. Jones out for Kearney. Kearney wrestled down by Langer. And also Stephen Price on the halfway line. Jones, and now Wanganar bumps off one, wriggles away from a second, looks for Jones, who's tackled. 3 metres into Australian territory on 5. Paul guiding it down towards Lockyer, who brings it back and then puts a sideways run, running across, looking for support. Now Thorne is ready to take it up. And Thorne is put away just inside his own 30-metre line. 20 minutes gone, closer to 21, and 10-4 is the score.
Yeah, he's got Brad Thorne here for losing control of the football in the play-the-ball area. Let's have a look. There's a hand involved. Yeah, it should have been a penalty the other way, but the referee's seen the result of it. So a chance here for New Zealand. I think they're both marvellous players, Steve Kearney and Robbie Paul, but the Australians have done a good job controlling them in the 2 test matches so far. Here's a chance with Jones.
Jones has put Halligan down the plate. Halligan's over. New Zealand are in. Beautiful front base play by the lock forward. The halfback went with him. That put 3 on 2. And Halligan has dived into the corner. They've called for the video referee. But I think Halligan has scored a legitimate try.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about this one. Ray shows good streak, Daryl Halligan. Takes Lockyer over. That's fine. It's always been a great move, the scrum-based play, having the lock forward break on the blind side. And he's done very well here to thwart the attempt of Darren Lockyer to put him over the sideline. I think it's okay.
No doubt about it. It's the oldest play in the book, the scrum-based one. It's the old chestnut. Rebs. Oh, that's what they called it, Manly. Chestnut. There it is.
4 points to New Zealand. 3rd try of the game. Their first.
What it does going the blind side with the lock forward break is creates an overlap for you, and on that occasion the defender for the Australian side, the winger, had to come in, and that gave a free run.
So Halligan has scored the 8 points for the Kiwis. 2 penalties and a try, and now a chance to draw them level. He mightn't be the flashiest winger in the game. We think he's the best goal kicker, probably of all time. But keep in mind, he was just under pressure at the other end of the ground in defence, and he was very capable, Wayne Bennett. And then at the other end of the ground, he showed his skills in attack. You can't do any more than what Daryl Halligan has done tonight. 79 test points, looking for 81 from 22 out. Touchline. Got it, but it's not coming around. Well, it was a similar kick to the one against Parramatta in that sensational comeback. 10-8 the score. The Aussies are in front after 22. The play after the New Zealand strike back. 16 is Tony Pulatua, the young Panther. Sidiru, 24th minute. 3 tries, 2 to Australia. Iro, Tony is on in 15. Coming over for Kearney to push it on for Kevin Iro. A dummy, then tries to straighten. Thought about putting it down to Halligan, who is a dummy half. Kearney. 33 metres away from the Australian line on 5, and it went from... Referee has found a knock on him.
No, he's got Stephen Kearney for not getting up to play the football.
No effort at all. It's the second time.
Funny thing, I thought earlier in the night Kearney was responsible for an amazingly quick play the ball.
The referee might have also got him for not touching it with his foot, which in an English referee seems a little bit ironic.
McCracken's got an injury, Steve.
neck problem. He's carried it into this match. He got it last week, the neck problem, in the Test match, and there he is on the sideline getting treatment now, but he'll be back.
Webke. No big pardons for the big men. Australian props are really up against the brick wall of the New Zealand defence. Menzies. Now Price. 8 out of 11 completed by New Zealand. Only 5 from 10 by the Australians. Johns from dummy half. 20 metres away. Price for Langer, then Webke. Webke takes it to within 12 metres of the line. That's the 5th tackle. Langer's on the left of the ground, Lockyer on the right. They go through to Johns. Johns puts it on the boot, and Hoppy brings it away.
Well, New Zealand short in defence there. Maybe the pass would have been the go. But, Australia playing well. I mean, I still think they're controlling the game as long as they can control the football. When New Zealand have had this little fight back, Australia have given away far too much possession. They're defending well, though.
Now Kalis, wrapped up by Hetherington down low. He's leading the defence, Hetherington. He hasn't been second man into any tackle so far. 32 metres out from the NZ line. Hesitatingly from Iro, back for Jones, who beats Langer. Comes to the blind side, and it goes out on the full. And Australia will get very good field position off this mistake.
Well, Stacey Jones might have thrown the football over the sideline, but I blame Kevin Iro again, throwing it to the wrong man. He wasn't expecting it. He did very well, Jones, to try and create something. Pass going astray, but good field position now for the Green and Golds, with Wendell Saylor coming in off the right wing.
Second tackle and offloading. Might have come off a Kiwi arm and knocked on by Renoff. Well, that's very sad for Australia, because they had 4 tackles left.
And you can see how Wendell Saylor stood in that tackle. A little bit of sting now has gone out of the Kiwis' defence.
I should point out, I suppose, again, so much to play for tonight. New Zealand has not won a Test series against Australia for 45 years. The Australian team not lost a Test series since 1978. Would you believe that was against France?
Ricky. Iro. Swerving away from 2 would-be tackles, beating a third, and crossing into Australian territory before Pongia dummies. Ran away from a shoulder charge from Price and was eventually cleaned up by Britton Hetherington. Dummy half run, Eru. Wangana back, Jones down, along the ground on the bounce. Kearney can't handle, and it was dived on by Robbie Paul. And the referee is going to put a scrum down for a knock-on.
It's a shame there for New Zealand. I thought it might have been 6 again as well. It appeared to hit an Australian hand. Well, going back, just going straight over the top of it, Robbie Paul.
There's no doubt it's got to be an Australian feed. Even though Wangana looks to be in disagreement. The scrum 5 metres on the Australian side of halfway. Langer slowly.
Important time in the game coming up here, Ray. The last 10 minutes, 2-point ball game. Really, in the second Test, Australia had it wrapped up at the break.
Lockyer. Brasher to the halfway. Puts a fend on Hoppy, but together with Robbie Paul, they put him away. Now, from Johns. Kearns, who played a major part in Australia's second try. Hetherington, right wrist and thumb heavily strapped. Tallis, Eru, tempted to lift. Hetherington, Langer to the 30, and a flat pass for Johns. Langer again. A little kick for himself. Barnett is there, got a lovely bounce. And he plays it inside the 20-metre line, his own end of the park. From Jones to the left for Kearney. Kearney put down by Kearns, then Jones. Back on the right for Pongia. And Tallis waits with Hetherington low again. Paul Both markers went the same way. He picked up 5 metres, put on a swerve and a dummy and reached the 40-metre line. 16 minutes in opposition half for New Zealand, opposed to 11 for Australia. And Kevin Iro is put down on the halfway line.
And since I mentioned the fact that both Robbie Paul and Steve Kearney have been well contained, they really have come into this match wanting plenty of metres. Wendell Saylor now heading centre field. Another good chase from the Kiwis. Their kick chase game tonight has been very good.
Langer back for dummy half work. Menzies on the open side, and Lockyer on the blind side. An evasive run. Went back to Menzies. Menzies trying to get into some space. Something that has eluded him a lot in 1998. Certainly has made a reputation for himself, Menzies, but as you do that, the defences seem to reduce your opportunities. That kick has bounced good for the Australians. It's a very narrow in goal, and Barnett is going to be put away back on his own 10-metre line by Tallis. 32 minutes almost gone. 2 points the margin. Australia 2 tries to 1 in front. 14 is Gene Namu. Run into the shoulder there of Johns. Still inside their own 20. They're bogging down as Vanganar gets a pass that looked to be suspect from Pongia. New Zealand appealing for a referee to issue a penalty. Now Tony Iro and his brother Kevin, but they're not going anywhere. And 5 tackles, and they've gone about 15 metres. Jones then kicking from deep inside his own 30, and Saylor is on his 30 as he starts the procession down the ground. And the first tackle made on Saylor, 40 metres out from the Australian line. Lockyer. Johns sweeping it for Renouf. And Renouf not going anywhere. There's the tackle count. Australia making about 15% more tackles. Now they're into Kiwi territory. Hetherington off the ground for Thorne, and Thorne's at the 40-metre line. Hetherington again for Langer this time. Langer, a few paces, and then he was taken out, I thought, late. Ribke is tackled 30 metres out on 5. Now what will they do? Jason Smith and Johns on the blind, and Johns puts the kick high in the air. Allowed to bounce. It came down the Australian way. Still stacks on the mill, and the referee is turning it over.
Well, that kick, no one wanted to catch it. It swirled around. In the end, a little knock on, I think. There, Benny Iker knocked it forward. But New Zealand doing it real tough, getting out of their own danger zone.
Paul.
Yeah, but the important thing is they're not making mistakes. They're working through their set of 6 despite the fact they can't get good field position. Tony Iro now attracts 3 defenders. They've got a couple left up their sleeve. But their completion rate also has been strong tonight.
Pongia. Jones, second man play for McCracken. McCracken's pass on the bounce for Hoppy. And plenty of the momentum has gone in both departments of the game, attack and defence. Jones with a big kick that'll go over the dead ball line. So we will take a break. Half-time about 6 away. 10-8 Australia leading. Harbour Stadium in Auckland tonight for the completion of the Visa Test Series for the Trans-Tasman Trophy. The series locked up at 1-1. Right here we've got a situation not far removed from a deadlock either. The Australian bench, 10-8. Australia leading. 4, almost to the halfway line. And then Langer, and away behind Tallis for Johns. Johns for Renouf, and beautiful passing by the Australian backline. Brasher, 32 metres out from the New Zealand line. One gets the impression the Australians believe that this part of the game is when New Zealand will be found wanting. Johns, just outside the 20-metre line now, with the 5th tackle upon us now. Langer kicks. He's looking for Darren Smith, and the New Zealanders are there, but they're forced in goal. Kevin Iro. It'll be a line drop out for Australia to have plenty of opportunity and time to strike back in the last 4 minutes on the New Zealand line. Little bet each way by Langer. Could have favoured Darren Smith. They got the next best result.
And the New Zealand team in no hurry to get this restart underway. Used up a bit of juice in the last few minutes, despite the fact they've had plenty of football. I think they realise as well that this is a real danger time. I'm sure that Frank Endicott has sent out the message that they must keep their line intact. Here's Webke on the charge.
And a great run by Webke. The Ginamu dropout sees the first tackle 25 metres out from the Kiwis line. Brad Thorne is just outside the 20. Second play. Ben Iken to the blind side. Johns is with it. And the third tackle is gone, 15 away from the line. Half-time coming on very soon. Langer for Lockyer. Lockyer for Jason Smith. Now for Darren. And he's put down just inside the 10. Quick play the ball will help. Jason Smith with a long pass. Price away for Langer. Langer then for Webke. And the big prop forward. Smashed into the ground. Good strong defence by McCracken. Hetherington. Langer to the line. Brad Thorne got it away. Jason Smith, he's over. Australia has got their third. Tremendous pass by Brad Thorne. 14 to 8 Australia.
Oh yeah, they're too good, too classy. The great size of Brad Thorne. We saw him score a try last week through his size. He's done it again, set one up for Jason Smith. The Kiwis getting very, very tired. Lack of match fitness taking its toll now as we head to half-time. Great ball from Brad Thorne and Jason Smith on the spot.
That's their third try tonight, and they have all been beauties. The first one was spectacular. The second one, we saw a similar offload to this one. The second phase play from the green and goals, outstanding. Jason Smith involved in all departments tonight. Really is finishing the year the way that he's played every week, really, for the Parramatta team. And also State of Origin. An easy conversion here for Lockyer to put the team an important 8 in front.
So Lockyer goes through the formality of conversion, and the Australian lead, as Peter said, back to 8 with 3 tries to 1. A comment from Steve Roach on the sideline.
Gee, that was great football there from Alfie Langer to put his body on the line. He went right to that forward pack of the New Zealanders, took them right on, brought them on, got the offload on the outside, and that's a great try to Australia. They know when to score them. A minute 30 left on the clock.
I think I said at the 36th minute you could almost see that the Australians had pre-planned an assault close to half-time. They knew the New Zealanders were down on match fitness, and it's a vital part of the game when you're playing a team like that. There was a chance there, and they took it. But Steve Roach is right. Langer, he took it right to the line. He didn't give them any chance.
Yeah, that close to the line, Ray, it was really awful defence from New Zealand because they were really widely spaced. Gene Namu, he sat back on his heels. He didn't know whether to come in or stay out. Eventually came in and missed the tackle. But they had to be bunched in close to force the Australians wide, not give them some easy holes close to the ruck area.
Here's Langer again. Offloading. Lockyer. Likewise for Renouf, and Renouf is put away 40 metres out from the New Zealand line on 5. Back again for the captain. He's had the ball in his hands more than anybody else. And he keeps them guessing. That's one of the big weapons for Adam Langer. He keeps them guessing, and then they hang off, and he hurts them with a little darting run. And he decoys that, of course. He feigns that with a little grubber kick. But it's the other kick that he's really peppered them with tonight, the cross-field kick for his wingers. Star-studded performance by Langer again. Eru taking us towards half-time. And there it is in the background, the hooter. As the New Zealanders kick, Jones down over the head of Lockyer. It's running away fast to the dead ball, and Lockyer gives it a little bit of an assistance. So at half-time, on the wide world of sports, Australia 16, New Zealand 8. 3 tries to 1. It's been comprehensive. Maybe not comfortable, but certainly complete. Some really lovely tries. And I repeat that the first try was an all-time classic test try. We will take a break and then we'll come back for the second half from North Harbour here in Auckland. Here in Auckland, 16-8 as the Kiwis come out behind their captain, Quentin Pongia. They've got a big job to do, though. 3 tries to 1 probably tells the story, tells the tale of the tape. Better than the scoreboard, 16-8. Big crowd over in the grandstand area. I made the comment earlier that it was rather disappointing, but it did fill considerably in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game.
A much more even set of statistics than we saw 7 days ago. Completion rate pretty good from both sides. In fact, the second half of that first half, Australia's did improve. 3 line breaks to 1 is an advantage for the green and golds. And a couple too many missed tackles for the home side. But overall, not too much between the sides looking at those.
Jared McCracken, plenty of good stuff there by him. 16 tackles. He's not noted for his defence, really, or the quantity of it, but some good quantity and quality by him tonight. And for mine, Vangana has been their best forward. He's really hit it up strongly in those 6 hit-ups down the bottom there. And for Australia, Jason Smith having a wow of a game tonight, setting up tries, 13 tackles, 4 hit-ups, a lot of offloads by him, and Webke and Britt doing their job also in the hit-up department.
Talking of Jared McCracken, it reminds me to, pardon me, just send a little cheerio to his boy who was injured last Friday, Wade McCracken. Dad was on duty for the Kiwis. They told him after the match that the boy had been injured in a car accident. And I believe the news is good about the youngster. So, young Wade McCracken, if you're watching Dad play, we hope you're okay. Your father's playing a real big part here tonight. Russell Smith. Time on. And Australia 16 points to 8 up. We go into the second stanza and Pongia comes back strongly, demonstrating the will that the New Zealanders are going to have. Swan 22 away from his own line. Now Vangana came to the defence and then seemed to mark time. Eru, and the referee giving a penalty to the Kiwis.
Yeah, Jason Hetherington never got onside there. He made 1 tackle. Fairly good play of the ball, and Jason just couldn't contain himself. Daryl Halligan will find touch. Well, he actually loses a couple of metres, but it is out. That's the most important thing.
So Jones, Pongia, his second hit up in the second half, and Hetherington again leading by example in defence. He's up the front, and Jones, a good run, gaining 15 metres on the third tackle. Paul, a cut-out pass, picking up Swan out in the centres, 40-metre line, and Jones offloading from McCracken, and that should be, I was going to say it, is he going to penalise? Yes, he is. Penalty to the Kiwis. Steve Roach on the sideline.
Yeah, I've got Chris close with me. Chris, what happened in the Australian room at half-time? Pretty good performance in that first 40 minutes.
Yeah, the boys played very well, mate. They got up on the line, off the line very quickly. Wayne Bennett was happy with that. He was telling them to go back out there, concentrate on their defence, and the rest will take care of itself.
You've got to mention about Renu's try in that first couple of minutes. That was just an outstanding test try, wasn't it?
One of the best you'll ever see, I think. The hands in that was incredible, and it just goes to show it is a bit slippery out there, and these guys are absolutely unbelievable.
I suppose the most important thing in this second half, especially in the first 10 minutes, is to not give the New Zealanders a little bit of a sniff.
Yeah, if they get a bit of a chance now, they'll come back strong, but our guys are going to tackle them out of it, Brocker.
Okay, mate, thanks very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Halligan with 2 from 3. 31 metres away. 9 metres in from touch. And this, the camera side. Crowd becoming boisterous. In expectation of another 2 points off the magical boot of Daryl Halligan, and there it goes. Up go the flags, up goes the crowd. It's 16-10 Australia. As we go back to the sideline, Steve Roach.
Yeah, we'll just do New Zealand. Frank Endicott, the New Zealand coach, he said, look, boys, on turnovers, we've got to adjust our defence a little bit quicker. We're far too slow. Australia just keeps spreading that football early in the tackle count. He said, we've just got to start to string a few passes together and really upset that defensive line of Australia. And he appealed to his players, just lift that little bit and we can go on with it and get back into this game.
There's no doubt about that, Stephen, and it's been exemplified in the opening exchanges, and mainly by this man, Pongia, leading from the front. Paul. McCracken. Ooh, heavy hit from Webke. But nothing's going to stop McCracken tonight. Kearney. 30-metre line. Eru. Jones. Paul. Ricky. And a good tackle from Renoff. He's muscled up in defence the last couple of weeks, Renoff. Jones is kicked for Lockyer. Brasher's there to help. Now, Brasher, it's your turn. Wanganar beaten. Swan makes the tackle.
It was a very important 2-point scored by New Zealand. Not only because they scored first in this second half to give them some momentum, also gets them back to just that one converted try behind Australia. Penalty here, and with the natives getting restless, Stephen Kearney involved. Jason Hetherington comes in to grab him. Underneath all of that is Darren Britt.
Let's have a look and see what happens here. Ooh, went down with the left elbow, Kearney, on Darren Britt's head, and the Australians get their second penalty. 5-2 the penalties to New Zealand.
Oh, look at the kick. They've made 40 metres with the kick, Lockyer.
It was done. Good to see that pulled up, wasn't it? I reckon last week it would have been play on.
Robbie Kearns. Just inside the 20-metre line. First second half opportunity for Australia. Jason Smith and his brother Darren. Just inside touch. Darren submitting. John. Britt took down on the 10-metre line. Second tackle. Hetherington for Langer. Langer along the line. Talasar, good tackle. Ruben Wiki. Andrew John holding it back, then away for Britt. Jason Smith puts it on the boot, and the Kiwis have got it through Jones.
Oh, what a great tackle from Ruben Wiki. That's inspiring stuff for his teammates. Absolute pearl.
Iro. Barnett.
I really think Ruben Wiki, even at this level, is a player that can be used in the back row of the scrum just to force his involvement. We've seen Mal Meninga at Canberra do it this season as Barnett slides through some tackles. Jason Smith, a problem with his left shoulder.
Eru. They've got a very good roll going here, the Kiwis. Jones putting it down over the head of Brasher, who scampers back urgently to cover it. 36 minutes gone in the game. Jason Smith is coming off. Australia leading by 6. It's that left shoulder. Sailor. Kraken toiling in defence. Tallis. Well, he'll get a penalty here. Eru's arm was around his neck. And Gordon was the first to complain. Watch it, bang, got him right over the chin.
That's how easily a game can change, isn't it? We go to the other end. New Zealand had a roll on. If the kick had have stayed in the in-goal area and they could have forced another set of 6, all the pressure is maintained. All of a sudden now, restart from 20 out, the penalty given. Australia on the attack with 4 tackles up their sleeve.
Now, Darren Britt, an offload. Lockyer slices through. Lockyer for the corner. Lockyer's over. Australia scores their 4th try. 20 points to 10. Big Darren Britt. He put Darren Lockyer on an angle, and the youngster from this North Harbour Stadium that brings back nightmares for him back in April of this year provides him with a try tonight.
It was reminiscent of last week, running into the hole. He just had a bit further to go. Again, the defence was pretty poor. Richie Barnett, he couldn't come up to stop the try. Darren Britt, a lovely pass. New Zealand, they had two players involved in the tackle. They didn't react out wide. And in the end, Lockyer's pace, well, it made impossible for the New Zealand defence to cover it.
Good on you, Darren Britt. Some awful New Zealand defence once again, and Britt and Lockyer took advantage of it. As I said last week, no substitute for speed in this game, and Lockyer showed once again what speed can do. And Wayne Bennett must be breathing a little bit easier.
Each time the Kiwis have retaliated, Australia has counterpunched. That's Endicott, Frank, at the back of that crowd. Didn't give him a very good seat, Frank, for a coach. So Darren Lockyer from 10 metres in from touch and pilots it between the uprights. Another 2 points to the Broncos fullback. It's 22-10. Australia over the Kiwis after 8 minutes. Throwing to the break after 8 minutes. I should have said 8 minutes of the second half, obviously. And this big man, Britt, I was of the opinion that he probably should have tried to vary his work. He'd been taking it up and taking a thumping. Brash is doing well, isn't he? And just as I was thinking that about Darren Britt, he's put an offload away for Darren Lockyer. Instead of taking them on, I just thought to myself, why don't you pass before the line a couple of times? Langer pushing it along. Johns, and then a long pass. Darren Smith beating a fragile tackle. Halligan it was. He came again to clean it up.
And word from the sideline, Jason Smith is okay, and we'll be back on shortly.
Australia just into New Zealand's territory now, with Kearns on the 40-metre line. Hetherington, Langer, Lockyer way out in front of him. Renouf had to lean back to pick it up. Then Brasher puts a kick in. The Australians are onside as Halligan is tackled just beyond the 20-metre line. 22-10. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Kevin Ira. And that's Webke and Tallis putting him away. Eru. This is Pongia. Little offload to McCracken, and that's a very good tackle. Let's identify. It's Darren Britt. Eru, a scamper. One of the markers came out of it injured. It's Andrew Johns, is it? Yes, Andrew Johns has got a big problem. And he was limping away backwards, or with his back to the play. And now Jones.
Yeah, it looks like an ankle or a shin problem for Andrew Johns as Stacey Jones is wrapped up by his opposite number. Last tackle now against New Zealand. The ball back to Paul. That's one across. Lockyer gets there on the first bounce.
Lockyer had to put a bit of urgency into his work there, because that kick was on the 40-metre line. And here he is put away.
Darren Britt's played 2 tests now. Jason Hetherington playing his first. Both the Canterbury connection look like they've been in the test side for years. Hetherington tonight has just been superb. 17 tackles. He's been smart around dummy half. That was always to be expected. He's a quality player. And Darren Britt was a late call-up for him in his career, but he's made every post a winner.
What I like about Hetherington is he gives the impression he is of the old hooking mould. His dummy half work is almost perfect. Hoppy, 30 metres away from the Kiwi line. They're in a bit of trouble. 2 converted tries down, and they don't finish the halves off all that brilliantly as Johns limps away.
Hasn't there been some great defence tonight from both teams at times, but some really punishing defence and textbook stuff as Logan Swan spins out, gets through the tackle of Benny Eichen to take it into the opponent's half. Eru kicks.
Ben Eichen would be at 5/8 now as they rolled it into touch just inside the 10-metre line. Off the boot of that man, Sid Eru.
But it's very predictable stuff tonight from the New Zealand side. Smith gets ready to come back on. No changes of attack as far as inside balls or changing the point of attack is concerned. They're just sort of spinning it out, and even then, they're probably lacking one more pass, one more support player to take advantage of any space they've created.
New Zealand, of course, tour Great Britain with a 3-match test series against them. As Lockyer is put down heavily by Tony Pulotua. Now Britt, who just keeps taking them on.
Well, they're not out of this game yet, New Zealand. As you can see, plenty of time to go. 12 points in arrears. Some good defence here on Stephen Menzies. Means that Australia should be kicking shortly and fairly deep in their own area. All of a sudden, if New Zealand can put something on the scoreboard, that'll just spur them into action. Here's a chance out wide. Jason Smith gets the kick away over the head of Barnett.
With Barnett coming away from his own 10. And that's a very good chase by the Australian back rower, Stephen Price. Now Hoppy. And the Australians shoulder up in defence to try and contain New Zealand down their own end of the ground. And whilst ever Australia can do that, of course, New Zealand have got no hope. Down by 2 converted tries. And 14 minutes gone second half. And another penalty goes to the home side.
Yeah, another penalty for not marking up Brad Thorne on this occasion. See him standing at the side there. You can't do that. He was offside. Made the tackle and has been penalised. Darryl Halligan should be looking to make a bit of ground here with his kick. Darren Lockyer's done it all night. Let's see what Halligan can do. Just searches, makes 20 metres. Well done.
The tap will be taken 33 metres away from the Australian line. 17 for the New Zealand side is Nathan Careless. And they come back down the block. Jones combining with Ricky. And Ruben will play it just outside the 20. Again, they go down the short side. And Hoppy trampling over fallen bodies. That of Stephen Menzies. 15 out from the line. Long ball, putting it into the centre of the ground. And now it's Paul. And inside ball for Kalis, and he's hit hard. Twice over the top of Hetherington. Now, Jones and Kearney. Offload, good work. Jones, Kalis lofting a pass over. Oh! Reynolds gone for the intercept and given them 6 more tackles. And it's with Ruben Wiki. Got a ball away for Hoppy. And he's put down 20 metres away from the line. Marvellous opportunity for them here. Pulotua.
If they don't score in this set of 6, they've got to ensure they get the ball back through a line drop out.
Iru. Long ball for Jones. The run around is on with Paul. Then a second man play for Swan. And he's driven down by Darren Smith. As they fan out now to the right. They're 10 metres out from the line again. Jones. Now with Paul. Runs across, turns it in. McCracken follows him towards the outside. And he's put down still back on the 20. Now, Pulotua. They're losing their direction. And they're losing space. Jones puts a kick in. It's with Price for Australia. He turns defence into attack. And he's put down 21 metres out from his own line.
Well, they did really lose their way in that set of 6, didn't they, New Zealand? You could see in the last 2 or 3 as big shoulder charge on Stacey Jones there. They had nobody directing play. In the end, a simple handover really to the Australian team. Wendell Saylor now tackled 45 out from his own line. Langer calls for the football and finds Kearns on the inside.
Steve Roach, what's the problem with Andrew John?
Yeah, he's got a caught calf, so he's just warming up on the sideline at the moment. He'll be back.
Here's Aiken with a big run. He tries to flick it on the inside. It was propelled forward by Lockyer. It's play on advantage for Kiwis, but he's going to put a scrum down anyway. I can't quite fathom that.
I think the ball might have gone forward from the Ben Aiken flick. Rabs. Benny Aiken getting a chance tonight now that at 5'8", now that Andrew Johns is off. I think that pass went forward.
I'm not disputing that, though. I was of the opinion the black and white team were entitled to the ball.
Well, New Zealand knocked on, Ray.
Did they?
Sean Hoppy trying to pick it up. And get the scrum feed now through Jones.
So he's acted according to the ball going forward from Aiken. And the New Zealanders with the feed. This is the second tackle thereafter. Logan Swan on the halfway. Iru threw it away for Paul for Jones. Jones out at 5'8" that time. McCracken. 5 metres into Australian territory. And it's Kearney wrestled with Webke and Kearns and Thorne all getting part of the action. On the Australian 40-metre line, to the left they go with Paul, turning it back in for Kevin Iro. Iro beats Brad Thorne, then confronted by Webke, gets the pass away for Tony Pulatua. The ball has been stripped from him in a one-on-one situation, and Renouf knocked on. So he will put a scrum down and give the Kiwis the feed just inside the Australian 40-metre line. Yeah, it's Kevin Iro.
A better run from Kevin Iro. Hasn't done enough of it tonight for mine, but would have seen a few tackles ago. New Zealand put on a good set play, and then after that they do lose their way. They think, well, what do we do now? I think it's all because the Australian defence is very, very good.
Barnett running an angle off Robbie Paul as they head off again to the far side of the ground. And again, it's Kevin Iro, this big centre. And now Halligan, who picked up a try for New Zealand. In fact, the only try for New Zealand. He scored all the points, Halligan. Back across the park, Jones. They're inside the 20-metre line. Pulatua! One to beat! He's over! Tony Pulatua! He goes in to score for the NZers. 22 points to 14.
Well, the Australian defence has been terrific all night, but there we have it. Pulatua, I think he's only 19 and striding through some... Well, someone missed a tackle there. We'll find out who it is in a minute. But it's a one-on-one. Overall, the defence has been terrific. One-on-one tackle, it's a nice step. Well, it's a Ben Eichen in between Eichen and Gordon Tallis. Lockie couldn't put it. So they're back into it, the Kiwis.
Yeah, I think the man who should have made the tackle was Gordon Tallis. He came in, he could have stayed out. That put Eichen in no man's land. He's an athlete, this kid, isn't he? And he is just a kid. I mean that in the nicest possible way, just out of school. New Zealand have shown faith in both he and Nathan Kalis to bring them into the squad fairly early on.
Well, he's got a mile of talent, Pete. One of the shining lights. Penrith had a fairly disappointing year, but he was one of the stars for them all season.
He's the youngest player on the field, Tony Pulatua, product of St John Paul II at Marillon, and a product of the Aussie Home Loans Cup, and before that the Commonwealth Bank Cup. Plays for the Panthers, and he's playing fine for his country. Halligan converts the Pulatua try. New Zealand are back within 6 points. We've got an hour gone. Frank Endicott and the crowd, they've been in this game and then they've been out of it. Now they're back in it. 6 points the margin. It'll be interesting to see if the pendulum swings the same way that it has all night. Every time New Zealand has got a sniff, Australia has put more points on the board. This is Swan, and now Paul. Weaving and evading the opposition for Jones, to go out for Namu, for Pulatua, for Namu, and for Iro, Tony. Then Jones. Jones straightens the attack and is put down inside the 40. Paul. Kearney. Snatching tackle by Jason Smith. Got what it deserved. Halfway line. And here's Tony Iro. Been around for a long time, but he can be a very, very handy man. In a tight situation like this, you get an offload away. Namu's kick is out on the full. So a little chance for Australia.
At this level, that is unacceptable. New Zealand back in this game, some good possession, and all of a sudden they kick the football out with an easy kick. It wasn't a difficult attempt at all by Namu. And Australia have the football 40 out from their own line. 2 tackles. Britt takes the second.
Wide World of Sports tonight, coming to you from North Harbour in Auckland. Tomorrow, the Wide World of Sports from noon, an exclusive domestic coverage of 7 races, including the Caulfield Cup, the $1.5 million Caulfield Cup tomorrow from 12 noon. You'll see the meeting almost in its entirety live on the Wide World tomorrow from 12 noon. Exclusive domestic coverage.
What do you fancy, Rabs, in the Cup?
It'd be hard to beat Tie the Knot, but I do think I do think the Darren Gatchimount has got a chance. Here's Lockyer. Away now for Renoff. And he calls Brasher inside. Brasher responds. Gets the ball away for Lockyer. Lockyer puts the ball in the centre. Rid away for Tallis now. And Tallis is able to unload. Jason Smith keeps it going. Webke unloads. And then it's Price. And Price can unload. He does back to Smith. Then it's away for Andrew Johns. The pass to Darren Smith. And Darren Smith, he goes in to score another superb try. Oh my goodness. We have seen some excellent tries here.
Well, if we thought the first one was good, it ranks second behind that one, especially at this stage of the game. The unfortunate thing for New Zealand was it was a 12-man defensive line. Kevin Iro has been down for the last couple of minutes. It started, it's a couple of wide passes. Darren Lockyer on to Renoff. He would look like he would be taken into touch, but he gets it to Brasher. He keeps it alive. Back to Lockyer. Over the top to Brett. He offloads to Gordon Tallis. Straightens things up. So many offloads. Jason Smith involved. So too Webke. On to Stephen Price. He should have been cleaned up, but he gets the pass away again to Jason Smith. And this pass here from Andrew Johns, very select to Darren Smith on the outside. There must have been something like 12 or 13 sets of hands in that one movement.
I'd like to know. I really would like to know.
Oh, some beautiful stuff. And the Kiwis had 4 or 5 chances to nullify that attack. They couldn't put the men on the ground. Darren Smith does the aeroplane. And some breathing space now for the green and golds.
But the pattern of the night has been sustained by the Australians, Peter. Every time the Kiwis got a little opportunity, got back into the game, the Australians put the extinguisher on them.
And I come back to that kick out on the field from Gene Namu. Ray, it's an important moment in this match.
So Lockyer offline, 26 points to 16. 10 points the margin. The crowd tonight, which includes Wayne Bennett naturally, is 24,470 with a capacity, I'm told, of 25,000. 24,470 here. And that's not far short of the crowd that was attracted here for the first test on April 24th.
Only 170 short.
How many?
170.
There's nothing like being precise, is there?
Oh, he's a mathematical genius, Ray.
Price, put down hard. I sometimes think that's why he chooses to sit next to David Middleton, you know.
He can't spell or anything, but let's figure how good he is.
Sailor. Jason Smith.
Mentioned that Kevin Iro was down when that try was being scored. He's left the field. Australia now through Andrew Johns, who gets away a monster kick. Themselves down the other end of the field.
Oh, it stopped. He put weight on it and everything. And eventually Barnett gets back. He beats a couple of them, but Andrew Johns has put an enormous kick down the ground.
And the quality of the kick is shown by the fact he got it to stop in a very, very small in-goal area.
Do you think he had control over it, Pete?
If he can do anything, Andrew Johns.
It's like Ray Warren's putts. He gets them to stop before the hole all the time. Fantastic.
No, Andrew didn't have 3 kicks there. Ray has 3 putts
Foggier.
consistently as
Turn
Jones.
it up, turn it up. Now it's with Koenig. 31 metres away from his own line. Now from Jones, back and away from Wanganar for Namu. And it was, as Peter pointed out, a kick that went out on the full off the boot of Gene Namu that put Australia on the trail to another try, and probably on the trail to another series win, which now extends back 45 years. There's the completion rates. They're still quite high, aren't they? Australia was way down.
They're very good. If you'd have said to both coaches with 66 minutes gone that was going to be each side's completion rate, they'd be happy.
Oh, Sailor's through. Sailor, he's got one to beat. He runs over the top of it. Looks back for support. 18 metres away from the line. Jason Smith is there, and they go down the blind. He wriggles out of a tackle. Menzies on the second bounce. Now they go back within 15 metres of the line. For Jason Smith to find Alan Langer. Langer running to them. Kearns comes up on his inside. There's the ball back for Langer. Langer for Johns. Johns for Tallis. Tallis for Renoff. Renoff looking for try number 2. 5 tackles gone. He's a metre out from the line. Russia sweeping it away. Johns has to be quick. The ball goes through and it's gone to Lockyer. Lockyer gets it away. Menzies for Thorne. And Thorne, he's in for another try. Brett Thorne scored last week. Late one on tonight. Then he scores himself. They've gone for the referee. But it looked okay from here.
Yeah, the only doubt would be whether he stayed in the field of play, one would imagine, with Brad Thorne. Again, the big fend. He's hit by Daryl Halligan. And I think he's done an amazing job to stay in the field of play.
It looks okay to me. Well, that replay, Sky Channel providing the pictures tonight. We thank them for that, but that replay is not the one the video referee wanted to see again.
The only doubt here is his left leg as he's hit by Daryl Halligan. As he comes across now, the left foot, I think it stays in. That's going to be fine.
Here's the shot. Here's the shot.
That's it there to touch the line.
I don't think so.
No, good as goal.
I don't think so, and I think you'll find that Brad Thorne has sealed the fate of this Test match and this series. The Visa Test series. 10 points the margin currently, and it is a try. Tony Drake, the video ref, I'm sure getting it right.
And once again, it's just the class of the Australians and the skill level. What about the pickup by Darren Lockyer? This one here, on the run. Off his legs, beautiful stuff. Precision passing. Good pass there from Beaver Menzies. And, well, he's just too big, too strong, too tough, too everything.
That was a marvellous pickup from this man, wasn't it, Darren Lockyer? He makes it look easy, and that's what the great players and the champion players do in the game of rugby league. They make difficult things look as though it's just an everyday occurrence for them. As Paul pointed out, picked that one at speed, bouncing everywhere, but almost in the one motion he had in his hands and out wide to allow Thorne to score.
Lockyer from the sideline, and he misses. Still, it looks very much like it's Australia's Test match. A lead of 14 points now, 30 points to 16. North Harbour, lovely stadium. Huge grandstand on the far side, in a half-moon shape. As Brad Thorne, the try scorer most recently, brings it back to the 20-metre line. Feel a little tinge of sadness for Kevin Walters, missing this test. He was an integral part of last week, and he'd be no doubt watching from Brisbane. He has had a magnificent year, but this would have been just the cream on the cake for Kevin. Johns. His kicking game has come to the fore when we need some volume in the second half.
Obviously, all the Australian players have played particularly well, but a big rap for Timmy Brasher out there tonight. He's the only player in the Australian squad that wasn't involved in the playoff series, the domestic series. So he obviously wasn't able to impress for the last 6 weeks. But his performance on the wing and now back at fullback has been first class. He's been a great representative player for a number of years now.
Kevin Iro heavied down by Darren Smith. And that was a Menzies tackle. They're just outside their own 40-metre line now. Namu trying to inspire a late challenge, the New Zealanders, but the ball into touch. Australian loose head and feed. With a smile on the face of Nathan Gibbs and Jason Smith. Yes, tomorrow, don't forget, the exclusive domestic coverage on Nine's Wide World with Caulfield Cup Day. Tremendous race program, including, of course, the highlight race, the Caulfield Cup itself.
He's a good judge, Ray. Fatty's tipping us something that's not even in the field yet.
That's right.
If he gets a run, our unicorn will win if it gets a run, let me tell you.
Menzies. 40-metre line. Sailor. An offload. Hetherington. Johns. Lofted pass. Finding its mark. Renoff, little in and away, and then tackled just on the New Zealand side of halfway. 30 points to 16, 14 the margin. And Australia has not been more comfortable than that lead. So 8 minutes of our season remaining. It's been a long one. It's been the inaugural year of the NRL. And it's the first time I can recall a test here. Here's Langer with a chance for a regather, but no, Barnett was there. And Barnett playing it inside the 30-metre line.
A long season for all the players, but also the coaches as well. And what differing fortunes for the coaches involved tonight. Wayne Bennett, premiership victory with the Broncos, a state of origin success with Queensland. He's come in under plenty of pressure with this Australian team and come back from 1-0 down to take out a series that appears 2-1. Frank Endicott, well, he may be leaving the coaching ranks, not through choice.
Renoff's been sweating on the intercept. This was a perfect time to go for it because McCracken had to turn to catch the pass. And I think Renoff realised that he had a man with his back to the play. And there he was. See Iro? He had no idea where Renoff was. A great chance for intercept, but it didn't quite come off. Now they sweep it across. The Hoppy. Darren Smith closing down the right of the ground. And then Kearney, Jones, outside the 40. Pulatua, try scorer. Namu. Pongia, lovely ball, inside for Vangana. Tyson Pongia having a little bit of a disagreement in back play. Kevin Iro again confronted by Darren Smith. He's a big man, Kevin Iro. Darren Smith has been marking him and restricting his opportunities frustratingly for Iro. Pulatura again, out wide on the right of the ground. And a chance to pass, but the Australians are with it. It's Ben Aiken. Steve Roach on the sideline.
Gee, this has been a great defensive effort from Australia. They're well ahead on the scoreboard, only 5 minutes left. But the last 3 sets of 6 tackles that the Kiwis have had the football, Australia has smashed them.
I think it's been a magnificent spectacle, Stephen.
Yeah, really enjoyed it down here on the sidelines. It's been an unbelievable atmosphere too, and I'll tell you what, it's only been a little bit of class that's got Australia home.
Well, I'm delighted in seeing 2 of the tries anyway, and a couple of the others required brilliance in the offload department from Kearns and Thorne. But the Darren Smith try, and early in the night, who scored that first try, Peter?
First try, Steve Renoff.
Renoff's try. They were just 2 wonderful moments in Test match football.
Yeah, it's been an improved performance from New Zealand compared to what we saw last week. And just going through their side, I thought Richie Barnett's played pretty well, so too Sean Hoppy. Logan Swan at lock forward. I haven't seen a lot of him this season, but really played well tonight. And the youngsters, Vangana, Pulatua, Kalis, promising players for the future for the Black and Whites. Pongi has been excellent for them.
They haven't had a better player than their halfback for 9 feet, Stacey James. He's best been in everything.
Halligan trying to keep it alive. Kevin Iro slowly back. They've had a lot of work over on that left-hand side of the park. And that is Ruben Wiki. The boys have got a big rap on Ruben Wiki, and I agree, but I just wish he would involve himself more. And maybe what Peter's saying is the way to go with him. Move him more in where he can't be anywhere other than in the action.
Well, as I said, we saw Mal Meninga do that with the Raiders, and he was very effective there in short bursts. He's the kind of player you look at in defence. He is intimidating in defence, and he hits so hard that just his very presence there is going to have an effect on the opposition attack.
Britt. Langer along the line to Johns. He's answered the call, Andrew. Dummy half last week. 5/8 tonight. It doesn't give him the freedom that he enjoys alongside his brother playing in the number 7. But he's got the job done, and confidently. He's at no stage tried to steal the role of conductor away from Alan Langer, and that must be hard when you're Andrew Johns.
Well, he's normally a player who likes to control things for his team Newcastle, which he does. And to play second fiddle or just be a link man is what he's done tonight. He's done it well.
And a wrap tonight too for Russell Smith. He was probably under more pressure than anybody coming into this game. And I think that he's realised that last week, not one of his better performances as a referee. Tonight, he's allowed the game to flow. Can't think of too many decisions that we've disagreed with. And I think that he's had a fine game.
Scrum 40 away from the Kiwi line, and back of the scrum play, Jason Smith. The ball tantalisingly there for Sailor. With Daryl Halligan. Gee, he's hard to get around. He's hard to get on top of in any given situation.
You can see there, good wing play. Just had a little bit of a peek to see where Wendell Sailor was. Realised he had him covered fairly comfortably, so he could make sure cleaning up the football, which he did. Gene Namu, fairly high kick, not a lot of distance, picks up 43, and Brasher. Game safe as ever under the high ball. Oh, good tackle there from Ricky.
So the final seconds of the Test match, Australia haven't been beaten by New Zealand since 1953, as Peter pointed out. And incredibly, the last Test series they lost was against France in 1978. I'd have to see it again to believe it, though. Here's Johns, an inside ball. Menzies is away. He reels out of a tackle. He gets the ball away. Renouf gets number 2. Renouf scores a late try for Australia.
Yeah, Steve Menzies' pet play. He loves this. Normally it's Cliff Lyons giving him the football. On that occasion, Andrew Johns, the 5/8. The galloping action of Stephen Menzies. Where's the support? Here it comes. Steve Renouf. A nice little try for the Pearl. Gets his second for the night.
And again, this just epitomises how New Zealand get caught out in defence. 2 players coming in on the one man. They didn't have the cover on the inside. Should have been stopped here by Kalis coming over. The arms allowed to be kept free, and Steve Renouf comes looking for the football, as he does better than probably anybody. And a fitting way for Steve Renouf to finish his season. Swag of tries again for the Broncos. And Andrew Johns should put on the final points in this third and deciding Test match.
It'd be interesting to go back through the records of Renouf in internationals as the try is converted by Andrew Johns. Just how many internationals Renouf has played in that he hasn't scored tries? Is that the siren? It is. 36 points to 16 then winds it up. Australia with a comprehensive win. It wasn't all one-way traffic, though. Renouf got 2 tries. Hetherington, Jason Smith, Lockyer, Darren Smith and Brad Thorne got tries. So a total of 7 against Halligan and Pulatua for New Zealand tries. Halligan kicked 4 from 5, but back to the Australian scorecard. Andrew Johns 1 from 1. Lockyer got 3 from 6. Some outstanding performances. A presentation of trophies still to come, and still a wrap to come as well from Peter Sterling and Paul Gordon. And of course we will have with Blocker our man of the match very shortly after a break that we're going to. A chance for me to say good night and goodbye for the year, and I'll be back with you next year hopefully. 36 points to 16, Australia over New Zealand.
Year's Visa Test Series against New Zealand. Tonight, 36-16 winners. It finished 7 tries to 2, with Renouf grabbing a double. Hetherington, Jason Smith, Lockyer, Darren Smith and Thorne scoring tries. Lockyer kicked 3 from 6. Andrew Johns kicked the last goal. While for New Zealand, Halligan and Pulatua scored 4-pointers. Daryl Halligan kicked 4 from 5. One of the Kangaroos' better performances, I thought, tonight. A very strong victory made picking the man of the match a little bit more difficult. The man we did finally choose is with Steve Roach.
Well, the $1,000 Channel 9 man of the match goes to the Kangaroos lock forward, Jason Smith. Jason, congratulations. Some outstanding tries there by the Australians tonight. The teamwork is something that really stood out for mine.
Yeah, that's right. Probably the first 20 minutes we gave away, a few stupid penalties. We kept dropping the ball, but then, we sort of held on to it then, and Wayne had a chat to us at half-time, and I think the second half went really well. Yeah,
plenty of pressure coming into this test. Everyone knows that it was 1-1, but you guys really look like you've gelled together well as a team. A lot of new players in the side.
Yeah, that's right, especially Jason Hetherington. He come in like only 2 days ago, and he fitted in the side really well, and everyone else is combining really well out there.
Yeah, I thought the defence was just absolutely outstanding tonight. Even though you were way ahead on the scoreboard, the defence, the sting was still there even up in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we didn't want them to get another sniff. We sort of gave them a sniff a few times during the game, and then we get ahead, give them another sniff, so we just made sure we didn't do that again.
Right, Jason, congratulations, mate. Well-deserved award.
And I'd just like to say that's for you, Kevy, and also hello to Janelle at home.
Good on you, mate.
Such a wonderfully gifted player, Jason Smith. Superb again, Paul, in what was a pretty competitive test match.
It was, Peter. New Zealand once again gave it their best shot, especially early, but they just dropped off as per usual. Their tackling was pretty ordinary late in the first half, and then again in the second half. Australia wore them down. Too classy, too much speed out wide. Every player did their part tonight, and I thought Wayne Bennett in particular, as the coach taking over when they were 1-0 down in the series, did a great job. Well done, Wayne Bennett and the Australians.
Yeah, in front of a big responsive crowd here at North Harbour Stadium. Only moments ago the presentation took place. First up, and obviously disappointed Kiwi skipper Quentin Pongia addressed his home crowd.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the public for coming here today and standing by us. A little disappointing for us, but we've got a test series in Great Britain in a couple of weeks. But we'll do our best, and we'll bring home a cup for you. Thanks.
To accept the Trans-Tasman Trophy on behalf of the Australian team, please ask Alan Langer to come forward and accept the trophy.
Another bumper season for Alan Langer. 21 tests next to his name now, and of course this year he captained not only the Australian team to this test victory and series win, but also captain of the Queensland State of Origin side, and also skipper of the Brisbane Broncos, who took out this year's NRL competition. Truly one of the modern greats. A superb performance again from Alan Langer. Came into this game under a little bit of pressure, I suppose. No Kevin Walters outside him, and it was always going to be a little bit more difficult to get that combination going with Andrew Johns, but that wasn't a problem. Wayne Bennett obviously had a big influence on Alan Langer, and there you can see the little man raising the Trans-Tasman Trophy. Worthy winners, Australia, and a great captain. And over 21 tests, this is the first test series that Langer has had that honour.
First of all, I'd like to thank New Zealand for a fantastic series. It's been very tough, but they've really played well. I wish them all the best in England. Second of all, I'd like to thank my team. We've come together the last couple of weeks, and just the comradeship we've built up, it's been fantastic. They're a great mob of blokes, and certainly play well.